Hi, you join me on the bank today. Just going to run you through some maggot feeder fishing. We're just getting to that time of year. I know the suns might throw that a little bit, but we are certainly getting to the time of year where this is going to become a deadly tactic as the water starts to clear and the fish start to back away from the pole. One of my favourite methods. Here we are, just into a nice F1 now. Perfect sort of fish for doing this method. One on the elasticated feeder. Let's put him back and I'll show you the rig. So feeder choices. Today we're starting on the largest size. There's the three sizes. This is the large. This is the smaller size weight of the two, the 30 gram. We're not chucking a million miles and there's no wind to contend with, so this is perfect. You always want the lightest weight you can get away with. Now we've gone for the large feeder. Simply want to get plenty of bait in the swim to start with. There's a lot of silvers in this venue. I don't want there to be no bait left for the carp and the F1s. So it's just getting regularly casting, building the bait up, helping draw the fish onto the bottom. Once we've got some there, simply going to swap down to the medium size and just keep it topped up so we're getting regular bites. Hopefully we'll be casting really regular by that stage. So that'll be perfect for that. The other size is the small. It's a bit warm for that yet. This comes in when it gets really cold, water's clear, and you're just trying to trick one fish at a time, literally like 8 or 10 maggots in there, setting a little tiny trap and waiting. Perfect for that. Those three sizes are going to cover all your maggot feeder fishing. Right, on to stem choices. For me, first choice is always the elasticated one. Simply just provides a bit more of a cushion when you're playing a fish, and I think it just helps set the hook. It just pulls the hook into the fish, which is what you want. Perfect. If these aren't allowed, some venues don't allow elastic. Simply one of the inline ones. These come as standard in the actual feeders. They come with a nice little bead. Your hook length attaches to that. And they just slip in the end. It's still free running, but it just provides that little bit of friction just to try and help set the hook again. Finally, the newest bit of the range is the swivel ones. These slide up inside and you attach the line free running, makes the feeder non-inline. Now, these are perfect for when we're using longer hook lengths in the winter. It just helps. It's the most tangle-free rig you can come across when you've got a long hook length. And these are what I'll use with the small feeder in the middle of winter when it's really clear and I want a long hook length to get some fall on the bait and just tempt that odd fish. The beauty of these stem systems is they all interchange and you can just slip the feeder off, change size as and when during the day. It's really securely, there's a little slot and there you are, ready to go. It takes 2 seconds to change your feeder, absolutely perfect. Right, so the small feeders, these come in two sizes, the 15 and the 25. 15 is perfect for just a small chuck if it's not windy. The 25 is better on a windy day. The 15s are also really good on little snake lakes, just chucking around on a snake lake on a windy day. So those two cover most of my really depths of winter fishing, in all honesty. So the medium feeders are available in 20, 30 and 40 grams. These are the go-to for most of your maggot fishing, especially when it's that little bit warmer. Again, size is just tailored to the conditions. The lightest feeder is always going to be the best because it doesn't make a noise going in, but if you're having to cast longer distances or it's really windy, moving up to the 30 and even the 40 is perfect. And then the large feeders come in 30 and 40 grams. These are for getting plenty of bait in the swim, or if we're having trouble with silvers and stuff like that, when we need to introduce lots of bait, and for casting that bit longer range. Again, the lighter 30 gram would always be my starting choice, but if it's really windy or we're going a long distance, which can work some venues, swapping to the 40 is the ideal option. So on to hooks and hook length choices. These are really important for the maggot feeder in my opinion. You can go really light, it depends on your venues. If you're fishing just for silverfish, a lot of venues are these days, nice light hook length is going to get you more bites. For me, the venues I fished, there's a lot of big fish in them. Even though I'm fishing for everything, if I hook one of the big fish, I don't want to be losing it. So it's generally 0.16 or 0.18 for me. I don't think it makes a difference because it's sat on the bottom. It's just what works on the venues I am. If like I say, if I was fishing for lots of silvers, skimmers and roach, I would drop lighter, but this is what works for me. Again, in keeping with that hook choice, I use the MXC2s all winter. For my general fishing, it's a size 16 with like 2 maggots on. On days when the fishing's really good or there's lots of silvers and we're having to put more maggots on just to try and avoid them, I just step up to a 14, and it is as simple as that, just 2 hook choices. Now I tie both up just in one of our hook length boxes, tie them at 12 inch, and I can use them like when it's colder and I like a longer hook length so the fish can see it fall, I can just put them straight on. If like today the fishing's really good, I can just cut them down to 4 or 6 inches fishing with the elasticated stem or the inline depending on venue. It's as simple as that, literally 2 hook length prongs, don't need lots of hooks, and that covers everything my fishing requires. So attaching the feeders, really simple. Here's the elasticated stem we've been using today. Simply a case of tying a loop in the end of your main line, threading it through the end there, over and tightening it up, just like you'd attach a hook length. That then is attached around there, and you're running this end with your hook length on. Like say, if that's not allowed, just go onto the inline. It's as simple as it says. The line threads through the middle, ties into the bead on the bottom. That just attaches over that. Really simple. Moving on to the winter setup with the longer hook length. Slightly different. It's just one of our rubber beads. Again, like the bead on the inline, just ties on a little bit, slides over it, and that holds it tight. I tie that with a big loop, so there's a little knot there, and there's a little reason for that. The feeder's still nice and free running, but it's just creating that little bit of friction to help hook the fish, and then if it does snag or whatever, it's completely free running. Like I was saying, it's easier to show it now. Just the reason to use this has got the foot hook length on for in the winter, so they can see it falling, and it just is tangle free. Where you've got a big stem, it can loop back sometimes. This is just, well, you couldn't get a more simple rig. Tangle free. This is my go-to rig in the winter. With all those, that's all your maggot fishing covered. So another carp. I had a lovely mixed bag today. Carp, some F1s, some roach. I'm going to get this one back and just have a quick rundown of what we've been doing. I'll just hold him up for you actually, he's a beauty. Lovely carp again. Right, so my top 3 tips for maggot feeder fishing. Number 1, tie all your hook lengths at 12 inches. Make it really easy. You haven't got to spend ages and ages tying hooks up. A couple of different hook lengths and that will do everything. Just cut them down to size if you feel you need to shorten them down if the fishing's good. Saves you a lot of time, makes life really easy. Number 2, I know it says maggot feeder, but a little tiny bit of ground bait can be absolutely deadly. Sometimes just a tiny little nugget like that on the pole when we're fishing maggots will get a response, and it's exactly the same in the feeder. Just putting a tiny little smattering of it in the top of your feeder sometimes on the hardest of days can buy you an extra bite. And moving on from that, tip number 3 is also taking something from the pole fishing world. Don't just fish one swim. When it's hard in the winter, don't just keep chucking it down the same hole all day. You can have it clipped up on the same spot, but you can cast left and right or to a feature and keep moving between the swims and keep feeding like a feeder on each one and just building them up, seeing what's best. the maggot feeder is great for getting just an odd fish on those really hard days, and that's just going to make that even better, just nicking odd fish from a couple of different lines. So don't be afraid to cast to more than one spot in your peg. I hope with those tips you can go out and catch loads of fish this winter. Right, so that's my maggot feeder tips. I hope you've learned something. Get out on the bank and try them. And for more content like this, get on the Matrix YouTube page. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Cheers for watching, guys.